Dear students, I am so glad to welcome you all for today's history class. Students, in the previous class of mine, we start to discuss history chapter number 4, opposition to British rule in Karnataka. In the session 1, we are start to discuss 18th century in India we called century of political problems. There we start to discuss why the 18th century we call the century of political problems. Because in the year 1707, Aurangzeb was died. When the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb was died, the successors of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb were weak and inefficient. That is why the Mughals were lost the control over the South India. Meanwhile, that was in the year 1704. Chikkadevaraja Odeya was died in Mysore kingdom. Soon after death of the Chikkadevaraja Odeya in Mysore kingdom, there was a quarrel for the succession of the throne. That is why I told you, my students, the 18th century in India you call century of political problems. By using as a right opportunity, Hudagada Hyder Ali and Tippu Sultan, how they rise to the power, how they fought against the English in the first and second and third and fourth Anglo-Mysore war we were discussed. Dear students, after death of the Tippu Sultan, in the beginning of the 19th century, there were the rebellions, there were the protesters who start to protest against the British rule in Karnataka. About them, let us going to discuss in today's session class. In today's class, mainly we can discuss about the role of Dandiya walk, rebellion of Amarasulya, rebellion of Kittur, that is about Kittur Rani Channamma and Sangoli Rayana. Even you can discuss about the rebellion at Surapura, the Zamindar of Koppal, then rebellion of Bedas of Alagalli. Dear students, first I am going to begin with Dandiya walk. Dandiya walk was born in a Maratha family of Channagiri. He was popularly called as a walk tiger. Because of his bravery, he was called as a Wag and Tiger. This Wag or the Dandiya walk, he was joined as an ordinary soldier in either army. When he was joined as a cavalry soldier in either army, because of his benevolent ability, talent, he was rose to the place of going to call military general. Such a Dandiya walk organized a private army. When he was organized a private army, who are going to call Tippu Sultan was not happy. That is why the different opinion was created between Tippu Sultan and Dandiya walk. As a result, Tippu Sultan imprisoned Dandiya walk. So after the fourth Anglo-Mysore war, who are going to call English realized Dandiya walk was the enemy of Tippu Sultan. That is why after the fourth Anglo-Mysore war, English released the Dandiya walk from the prison. Once when he was released from the prison, again he was organized the army, again he was organized the soldiers who were unhappy with the Tippu Sultan. Who do you call this Dandiya walk? Even he was organized, the feudatories who were against the Tippu Sultan. Feudatories means who were under the control of Tippu Sultan. By organizing the unhappy soldiers of Tippu Sultan, by organizing the feudatories of the Tippu Sultan, who are going to call this Dandiya walk, captured Bidanur and Shivamogga. After capturing the Bidanur and Shivamogga fort, he was marched to capture Chitradurga fort. When he was marched to capture Chitradurga fort, his attempt was failed. Lord Wellesley tried to check his rebellion, but Dandiya walk attacked on Shivamogga. After capturing the Shivamogga, he moved towards the Honali. After capturing the Honali, he moved towards the Harihara. Soon after capturing the Shivamogga, Honali, Harihara, he started to capture Shikaripura. After he was captured in the Shikaripura, he was moved to the Gutti. But the Gutti which was belongs to Nizam of Hyderabad. When the Dandiyawag want to capture the Gutti, who do they call Nizam of Hyderabad made attack on Gutti, which means he was made attack on Dandiyawag. When the Nizam of Hyderabad made an attack on Dandiyawag, who do they call Dandiyawag, he left the Gutti and he was moving towards Maratha territory. When he left to the Maratha territory to take a shelter under the Marathas, because he was felt that he was born in the Maratha, he was born in the Maratha territory called Channagiri. That is why he was felt that one, he can take a shelter in Marathas. So when he was proceeding towards the Maratha territory, but who they call Marathas, they captured his horses, they captured his cavalry, they took large arms and ammunitions of Dandiyawag. But Dandiyawag didn't be surrendered. He continued his expeditions. By that time, there were the Palegas, the Malabars of Mahe. They were given a support to Dandiyawag. With the support of Palegas, French, he continued his expeditions. But the British army followed him. The vast area that included Harihara, Chitradurga, Shikaripura, Savanuru, Ranibennuru, Kittur, Londa, these are the places who are called Dandiyawag captured. When he captured and proceeding forward, the British army followed him in the vast area, but who are going to call Dandiyawag, he captured the place going to call Harihara, Chitradurga, Shikaripura, Savanuru, Ranibennuru, Kittur, London. And his followers were arrested and many of followers were killed at the place going to call Shirati. But how the rule of Dandiyawag ended? Let us go to discuss methods how it was ended. After he was capturing all this territory, Dandiyawag recaptured Shikaripura and he was plundered the British army. He was made to scatter the British army. The British tried to defeat the army of Dandiyawag, which he used to move from the area when he was moving from Tungabhadra to Malabar region. By that time, English army attacked from all the directions. At the same time, the English followed him when he was left the Raichur. When he was left the Raichur, not only English followed him, he was caught by the Maratha army and the army of Nizam. Now, Maratha army is attacking him one side, Nizam's army is attacking another side, English army was surrounded him, now there is no way for him. At last, he was attacked and arrested at the place called Yelaparavi. After he was arrested at the place called Yelaparavi, he was taken and he was killed at the place called Konagal. Where he was killed? At the place called Konagal. Soon after Dandiyawag, let us go and discuss about Channamma, popularly we called as Kittur Rani Channamma, or the Queen of Kittur. The Kittur which lies between Dharwad and Belgaum. The Kittur which lies between where to where? Between the Dharwad and Belgaum. This Kittur which was ruled by Malla Sarja. The ruler of Kittur was Malla Sarja. After the death of the Malla Sarja, his eldest son who was called Shivalinga Rudra Sarja came to the throne. When the Shivalinga Rudra Sarja came to the throne, he was supported by the British during the Anglo-Maratha war. And also he was entered the agreement with the English. According to the agreement, he also collected the payment from the English, that is from Thomas Munro. But who going to call this Shivalinga Rudra Sarja? He falls sick now and then. Since he was fall sick now and then, his mother, who was called Channamma, was taking care about the administration. But the days has gone. Who was going to call Shivalinga Rudra Sarja was died because of his sickness. Soon after the death of the Shivalinga Rudra Sarja, his mother was adopted as son. So now, who was going to call Channamma? She was adopted as son by name called Shivalingappa. When the Channamma was adopted as son Shivalingappa, there was a collector and political agent of English from Dharwad, his name called Thackeray. Who was going to call this Thackeray? He was written a report to the governor of Bombay to take over the Kittur kingdom according to the doctrine of lapse. Meanwhile, who are going to call, Thackeray also prepared to attack her. But in the first attack, Channamma only defeated Thackeray and Thackeray was shot down to death. In the second attack, who are going to call these soldiers, Kittur and Channamma soldiers, they attacked and killed Munro, who was a nephew of Thomas Munro. But in the third attack, who are going to call Colonel Deacon, he was attacked and imprisoned Kittur Rani Channamma at the place called Bailahongala Fort. She was in the prison for some more years and she was died in the prison only. She was died in the prison only. But she had a soldier, we called him as Sangoli Rayana, a warrior, a soldier, we call brave soldier, Sainika. He felt his duty to liberate his motherland. He wanted to develop the sense of nationalism. He developed the sense of what we call patriotism. He wanted to organize the army and fight against the English to liberate the motherland. That is why he also organized the soldier of 500 men. He organized secret meetings. The main aim of the secret meeting was to loot the treasury and the taluk office of British. The British thought that this Sangoli Rayana was instigated by Rani Channamma. That is why the Channamma was shifted from the prison of Bailahongala to Kusugal prison. Meanwhile, who are going to call this Sangoli Rayana? He was organized guerrilla warfare techniques. So when he was organizing the guerrilla warfare techniques and also when he was fighting against the English felt that they cannot challenge the Sangoli Rayana in the open battlefield. By that time, English sought the help of the local rulers. There was a Krishna Raya, an Amaldar of Desai ruler. Cunningly, he helped the English to arrest when they called Sangoli Rayana. Now, English, with the help of Krishna Raya, they arrested Sangoli Rayana and he was brought to Belagavi. In the place called Belagavi, called Nandagonda, at the place Nandagonda, that is in Belagavi district, he was hanged to the death in the banyan tree. So it is believed that after his death, they planted the banyan tree on his burial ground. So this is going to call about Sangoli Rayana. After Sangoli Rayana, let us go and discuss about rebellion of Amarasulya. At Amarasulya, the rebellion which was took place, the rebellion we called as Farmers' Rebellion. This Farmers' Rebellion which was took place in the year 1835 and continued till the year 1837. If you come in the coastal area and in the Kodagu region, the political situation was different. Actually, if you come about the Kodagu region, in the Kodagu kingdom, there was a ruler who was ruling by name called Chikka Veera Rajendra. Why he gets the name of Chikka Veera Rajendra? Actually, his name was Veera Rajendra. He had his uncle in the same name, Veera Rajendra. That is why they called him, he is a younger, so they called him as Chikka Veera Rajendra, was ruling from Haleri. So when the Chikka Veera Rajendra was ruling from the Haveri dynasty in the year 1834, who are going to call English, they were dethroned him. Not only they were dethroned him, he was transferred from the Kodagu or a Haleri dynasty to Velur through Bangalore. After a few more days, he was shifted to Kasi. This incident created political instability in Kodagu. So, there were the people who sought to protest against the Britishers. Who were sought to protest against the Britishers? One I am going to mention to you, my students. Swami Aparampara, Kalyana Swami, Putta Basappa. Actually, if you come about the Swami Aparampara, they believed that one, the people were thinking that one, the people were thought that Swami Aparampara was the son of Appaji. Who was Appaji? The people thought that Appaji was going to call Chikka Veera Rajendra. So, Swami Aparampara, he want to come to the throne. Meanwhile, the people also thought that Swami Aparampara was the son of Appaji. Here, who is the Appaji? They felt that they popularly called Chikka Veera Rajendra as Appaji. That is why people also allowed him to come to the throne. When they were allowed him to try to become on the throne, who is called Swami Aparampara, he want to capture the Madikeri fort. When he want to try to capture the Madikeri fort, immediately English were arrested him and he was kept in the prison of Bangalore. That was in the year 1834. After that, after Swami Aparampara, there is another person who tried to become on the throne. He is none other going to call Kalyana Swami. Who are going to call Kalyana Swami? He was highlighted, he was projected, he only the second son of Chikka Veera Rajendra. When he was projected, he was the second son of Chikka Veera Rajendra. He was trying to become on the throne. When he was trying to become on the throne, but who are going to call English? He also arrested and he was kept in the prison of Mysore. That was in the year 1837. Soon after Kalyana Swami, Swami Aparampara, the friend of Kalyana Swami, Puttapasappa, he want to protest against the British. Soon after the Kalyana Swami, his friend Puttapasappa, he want to protest against the English. Who is this Puttapasappa? As I said, Puttapasappa was a friend of Kalyana Swami and Swami Aparampara. This revolt was took place in the Kannada region or in Amara Sulya. Sulya, Bellare, Puttur were the major parts of Kannada region, and these are parts of Amara Sulya also. Who are going to call this Puttapasappa? He promised, he was saying to the people, if you allow me to come to the power, if I am become on the throne, I declare that the tax on the tobacco and the salt will be withdrawn. When he was promised he will withdraw the tax on the tobacco and the salt, the rich farmers, land owners, local chieftains were promised to him they will support. Meanwhile, who going to call Puttapasappa? He made attack on Bellare and he captured the Bellare, which was the first move of his rebellion. At the same time, who going to call Puttapasappa? He made attack on Amaldar and he also killed Amaldar. When he was killed Amaldar, he also got popularity among the people. He got popularity among the people. The rebels were marched, which means the Puttapasappa and his followers, they were marching to capture Mangalore. When the rebels, when the followers of the Puttapasappa, when they marched to capture the Mangalore, who are going to call English? They were fortifying the Mangalore. The English also, the fortification of the Mangalore, which means they are rebuilding the Mangalore. But the followers of Puttapasappa, they moved towards the Mangalore through Panam, Mangalore and Bantwala. The rebels or the followers of Puttapasappa, they are moving towards Mangalore through Pane, Mangalore and Bantwala. Meanwhile, they also want to loot the treasury and the prison of Bantwal. Puttapasappa, when he was moving that side, who are going to call English? Immediately asked the help of Talacheri and they asked the help of the Kannur and even the Bombay Presidency. With the help of Talacheri, Kannur and Bombay Presidency, they made attack on Puttapasappa. When they made attack on Puttapasappa, Puttapasappa was defeated. Not only Puttapasappa was defeated, the followers who were associated with the Puttapasappa, namely Kedambadi Ramaya Gowda, Guddemane Appaya Gowda, Lakshamappa and Bangarasa, they were tried to run away to Sulya. But who are going to call? They caught hold of Kedambadi Ramaya Gowda, Guddemane Appaya Gowda, Lakshmappa, Bangarasa and Puttapasappa, and they were hanged them. They were hanged to death. After this, let us go to the another rebellion at Surapura. Rebellion of Surapura. Where is Surapura? If you go 50 kilometers away from Yadagiri. Okay, from the Yadagiri it is about just 50 kilometers away we can find a Surapura. It was an important place since from the rule of Aurangzeb. It was an important place during the time of Mughals. The rebellion of Surapura. Where is this Surapura? It is about just 50 kilometers away from Yadagiri. During the time of Mughals, this Surapura was an important place. After the downfall of the Mughal Empire, this Surapura was taken by Nizam of Hyderabad and Marathas. Who are going to call the Nizam of Hyderabad and Marathas? They used to collect vassal from these Surapura, which means they used to collect the tax from this state. By the time Venkatappa Nayaka came to the throne. Who is this Venkatappa Nayaka? Father Krishna Nayaka's son Venkatappa Nayaka. This Venkatappa Nayaka was born in the year 1834. Soon after he was grown, after the death of his father Krishna Nayaka, Venkatappa Nayaka came to the throne. But when the Venkatappa Nayaka came to the throne, brother of Krishna Nayak or uncle of Venkatappa Nayaka challenged him. He is none other than called Pedda Nayaka. So when the Pedda Nayaka challenged him, immediately English were interfered in the affairs of Surapura. In the year 1842, English appointed Meadows Taylor in the Surapura affairs. When the English appointed the Taylor to solve the issue, in the issue of going to call Venkatappa Nayaka and Pedda Nayaka, who are going to call this Taylor appointed Pedda Nayaka as a Diwan of the state. It was made unhappy to Venkatappa Nayaka. Meanwhile, Taylor, he conducted a land survey in the Surapura kingdom. After he was conducting the land survey in the Surapura kingdom, the land revenue also increased to the treasury. When the land revenue is increased to the treasury, he was trying to educate Venkatappa Nayaka. After he was educated him properly, he was appointed Venkatappa Nayaka to be the ruler in the year 1853. Soon after he became the ruler, that was in the year 1857, English observed, it was came to the notice of the English government that the representatives of Nana Sahib, they were present in the Surapura. So when the English were come to know this one, so now the English started suspicious over his kingdom. That is why the British appointed an officer named Campbell to report about the various activities of this king. The British appointed an officer named Campbell to report what is the activities going on in the kingdom. Campbell, he was studied the kingdom and he submitted a report to the English who were resided at Hyderabad. The officer submitted a report to the resident of Hyderabad that the king is involved in maladministration. As a result, the British army attacked and captured Surapura in the year 1858. The war continued. When the war was continued against the Venkatappa Nayaka, he was attacked and captured many soldiers, defeated many soldiers, but we don't know what was happened to Venkatappa Nayaka at the end. The war was continued, but there was a confusion was remained. Even though in the war many soldiers were taken as a captive, they defeated, they don't know what was happened to the Venkatappa Nayaka at the end. Koppal. Let us discuss about the Koppal. The area, the region was under the control of Nizam of Hyderabad. Who are going to call Nizam of Hyderabad? He was exploited the people of Koppal. But there was a zamindar by name called Veerappa. Veerappa, who was a zamindar of Koppal, he revolted against the British and occupied Koppal fort. Not only occupied a Koppal fort, and even the neighbouring places of the Koppal also he was occupied. Many farmers, zamindars, were supported to the Veerappa of Koppal. But English realizes the power, so these English were contacted the Nizam of Hyderabad, and they given a large army. With the help of the English army, Nizam of Hyderabad defeated Veerappa of Koppal. But the Veerappa of Koppal had a very less soldiers. With the less soldiers, he couldn't able to compete with the English. That is why he was defeated. Veerappa, who had lesser soldiers, died by fighting against the Britishers in the battlefield, and English were captured this Koppal. Dear students, next we will go and discuss about rebellion of Bedas of Alagalli, which was took place in the year 1857 to 58. In the year 1857, English were introduced Arms Act. What this Arms Act says, according to Arms Act, one who have license to the pistol, they can continue to have the pistol. In case if they didn't have the license to their pistol, they are supposed to surrender the pistol to the English. But here we will discuss a small village called Alagalli that was in Mudol Taluk of Belgaum district. In the small village of Alagalli, the people, they have the habits, they have the custom, they used to go for hunting. They used to go for hunting. Even though they used to go for hunting, everyone did not have license to their pistol. But according to this Arms Act, these Bedas, they have to surrender the pistol to the British. They have to surrender the pistol to whom? English. But they rebelled against the Arms Act, particularly in the place like Manturu, Bodhni, Alagundi. When they were revolted against the British at the place called Manturu, Bodhni and Alagundi, these people were suppressed by English and many rebels were hanged to the death. They were hanged to death. Dear students, so far we have discussed about Dandiya walk. Because of his bravery, we called him as a walk. We called him as a tiger. After the Dandiya walk, we will start to discuss about Kittur Rani Chennamma. Chennamma had a son, Shivalinga Rudra Sajja. After the death of Shivalinga Rudra Sajja, she was adopted a son. Kittur Chennamma adopted a boy named Dash. Surapura is in present district of Dash. The Bedas of Dash rebelled against the British. Amarasulya rebellion was basically a Dash rebellion. Just go ahead. Kittur Chennamma adopted a boy named Shivalingappa. Good boys. Surapura is present district of Dash. Good students. The Bedas of Dash rebelled against the British. Alagalli. Good students. Amarasulya rebellion was basically a Dash rebellion, farmers rebellion. Good, my students. There are few more questions I will give you, my students. These question answers you write once and learn and come for next class. Explain the method resisting the British power by Dandiya walk. Explain the method adopted by Rayana to fight the British. Another question. Explain the contribution of Puttabasappa of Kodagu in freedom struggle. Final question to you. Discuss the Surapur rebellion in brief. Thank you all students. I am Mr. Jerome, Assistant Master in St. Joseph's High School, Brianskaya, that is in Bangalore. Thank you. We will meet you by another class. Have a nice day.